So hi everyone. So I will move on directly to my presentation of today. So my name is Camille. I'm the founder and director of Association Anoulak, and today I will give you an overview of the work we are doing in the Annamite Mountains of Laos, and I will focus a little bit more on the work we are involved in on White-cheeked Gibbon research. So first of all, who we are. So Association Anoulak is a French registered association that was founded in 2014, and all our work is based in Laos. We are dedicated to the biodiversity conservation and community resilience in the Annamite Mountains of Laos, and Anoulak means conservation in Laos. So where do we work? So obviously we work in Laos, and all our work is focused on the Annamite mountain range, which is known as a biodiversity hotspot and with a high level of endemic species. Most of our work has focused in one of the national parks in Laos called Nakhon, which is located in the heart of the Annamite Mountains. In central east of Laos, the border with Vietnam. So a little bit more about Nakhon. This is a very large area, 4,000 square kilometer, with a high forest cover still, nearly 80% of forest cover. It is ranked as a priority for biodiversity conservation at the national but also international level. It has many globally threatened species of conservation value, including mammals, birds, reptiles, and amphibians. There are villages located inside the national park, which represent about over 7,000 people, including 9 different ethnic groups, each with their own language. So it is also high diversity, high cultural diversity. So just to give you an idea, just for the primate, the diversity of the primate community just in Nakhon National Park, there are 9 different species of primates, including 2 that are critically endangered, the white-cheeked gibbon and the red-shanked duck. 3 are endangered, and 2 species of macaques are vulnerable. So what are the threats and challenges working in this region? So by far the highest threat to biodiversity in the region is the hunting pressure. So the biodiversity is hunted for local consumption, for recreational hunting, but mostly the highest threat to the biodiversity in this region is the illegal national and international trade. So there are the biodiversity is hunted from people coming from outside the national park, mostly from Lao and Vietnamese nationality. And like I mentioned before, there are also some villagers located inside the national park who are still highly reliant on natural resources for their livelihoods. Because it is a very large area, it is very difficult to keep a constant law enforcement effort to reduce all these illegal activities. And unfortunately, there has been some poor management in the past which has failed to protect the biodiversity in the area. So what is our approach? So we have a partnership with the National Park to implement many different programs, including science-based biodiversity conservation research, conservation awareness, anti-poaching patrols, community sustainable livelihoods, and capacity building. So I will go through very briefly on all these different programs that we are implementing in Nakhon National Park. So in terms of the biodiversity research, we have been focusing on different species, including gibbons, otters, doing some wildlife monitoring program with ground camera traps. We also have some canopy camera traps, and we have many more research projects planned in the future. So for our project we are involved in related to gibbons, we have been mostly focusing on two different projects, species distribution and survey methods. So in terms of the project, we are involved in on the distribution range of white-cheeked gibbons. So there is still uncertainties regarding the distribution range limit between the northern white-cheeked gibbon and the southern white-cheeked gibbon. It is currently speculated that the Namkading-Namton River would represent the limit between these two species, which would mean that the two species could occur in Namkading National Park, but this has never been confirmed with enough data. Because the gibbon calls are species specific, which means we can identify and distinguish between the different species from analyzing their calls. We have been recording gibbon calls across several sites in Namkading National Park, but also collecting and compiling some gibbon recordings from other sites in the Annamites in partnership with other institutions. And all these data will be analyzed with our colleague from the Czech University of Life Science in Prague. So on this map, you can see all the different locations. We already have collected some gibbon calls that will be included as part of this research. And here you can see across Laos all the locations so far we have with gibbon call recordings, again in collaboration with other institutions. And in the next couple of months, we are hoping to collect additional gibbon recordings from other sites in the Annamites in collaboration with partners. So this is still an ongoing research project. So we are hoping to start the analysis of this data next year. So yeah, I cannot share any results with you at this stage. So the second research project we are involved in at the moment is on gibbon survey method, to develop a gibbon survey method. So we know that gibbons are some of the most threatened primate family in the world. All the 20 different species are classified as globally threatened. But there are still large knowledge gaps in the distribution and population status, where we know gibbons still occur. But in order to develop some effective site-based conservation management of indicator species, including gibbons, we need to use and have some reliable methods to do some monitoring of these populations. So far, it is with acoustic survey methods, but with human surveyors that have been used to survey gibbons, because we know that gibbons produce territorial calls that can be heard from a large distance. However, there is still a lot of subjectivity in the data collection. These survey methods are based on estimated parameters, such as distance to the group and direction to the calls, but these parameters are actually essential to obtain reliable population estimates. And there are also a lot of issues with estimating the actual area that is surveyed when doing these kind of surveys. There is also no existing standardized data analysis method, which prevents the long-term population monitoring across the time, but also across different sites to compare different areas. So back in 2015, the IUCN Primate Specialist Group section on small apes brought together different experts from different areas to develop some Gibbon survey guidelines. But during this process, we all agreed and realized that there was actually no existing consensus and reliable method to get reliable Gibbon survey population estimates. So from here, we decided to start a collaboration with a team to produce some affordable and easily deployable acoustic recorders that would generate data to estimate gibbon abundance. So this team brings together some statisticians who will work on the density and abundance estimation software, led by Dr. David Borcher from the University of St. Andrews, some acoustic recorders engineers to work on the building and production of hardware, led by Dr. Mark Johnson. Also the team of Rainforest Connection, who will work on the automated call identification, so Gibbon call identification from all the recordings that will be collected by the hardware. And of course, it brings also us with as part of this team, Association Anoulak, and we will work on all the fieldwork aspect of this project with the field testing of the prototype, but also to implement Gibbon monitoring surveys in the Annamite Mountains. So far, the University of St. Andrews has received some funding from Arcus Foundation for the development of this method, but eventually we will have to find additional funding to implement more Gibbon surveys with this new method. So this is still an ongoing project, and we are at a very early stage of this project, so I cannot give you any more detail at this stage. Okay, so very briefly, all the other projects we have been involved in. So we have been conducting some otter surveys and species identification in Nakanamton. We have set up a wildlife monitoring program with camera trap, ground camera trap surveys. This is to estimate the trends in animal population over time and across the landscape to assess the impact of the conservation interventions. So this is implemented in collaboration with the IZW Institute in Germany. So far, we have completed 2 rounds of this monitoring program, and we will replicate it again from next year, so we can then compare between the different years. So at the moment, we are working with colleagues on data analysis and publications on different species from all this data that we have been collecting, including some publication on macaques, on muntjacs, and also on the community species as a whole across the national park. We have been also using some Canopy camera traps and have obtained some really nice photos that can be used for awareness raising and campaigns. So we have obtained notably some very nice photos of gibbons. and many different other species, including other species of critically endangered primates such as the red-shanked duck and other primate species such as macaques. We also have other research projects planned from next year, including one on the Asian elephant, to conduct some surveys and monitoring for their population and develop a conservation program for Nakanamton, and also one on an endangered species of fish. And in the future, we are hoping to expand all this work to other priority sites in the Annamite Mountains of Laos in collaboration with other partner institutions. So in terms of the conservation awareness program, so we are publishing some educative material, including some illustrated books. So we have published 3 different books, The Wonders of the Annamite, The Spirit of the Saola, and Pangolin. And last year we published this poster, which is about the links between nature conservation and the transmission of zoonosis. So that was obviously related to the COVID pandemic, and we were able to distribute this poster across Laos with to different partner institutions. Earlier this year, I also published an article in the official Lao Airline in-flight magazine that showcases the biodiversity in the Annamite Mountains. So we have been also supporting some anti-poaching patrols in Nakanamton. So exactly 6 teams, which represents 36 villagers from the local communities who are implementing monthly patrols. And these patrols are targeting one of the 3 biodiversity priority zones in a national park. So we have been developing this and collaborating with the national park to manage these teams at the national park level. We also have an ongoing community resilience program. So we have been supporting villagers in the development of their first handicraft marketing and value chain strategy. And this is to provide them with an alternative income, but also to preserve and transmit traditional knowledge and craftsmanship of the community. And ultimately, this is to reduce the reliance on natural resources and contribute to the biodiversity conservation in the area. And we work with pilot villages in one of the village cluster in Nakanamton. So we have been, like I was saying, implementing some training from the elder generation to the younger generation on craftsmanship to make some handicraft. And we have been working also on the marketing and connecting the villagers with the traders for the value chain of their handicraft. And we have in Nakai a shop and a showroom for the handicraft that is produced by the villagers involved in this program. So also, obviously, all we have some capacity building for all the different aspects of these programs for our staff, but also for all the villagers that are involved in this program that we are implementing. Right, so thank you very much for listening. So very briefly, these are our sponsor for the last 2 years and our government and technical partners. So I invite you to visit our website to learn more, conservationlaos.com, and feel free to contact me if you have any question. So again, thank you very much for listening, and yeah, feel free to contact me with any question.